Welcome to Rios Recipes. I'm Jenny Rios. Welcome to my kitchen. This week I'm going to show you how I make corn tortillas. But before I do that, guess what we're having this week? We are going to have a giveaway. We are going to be giving away this 10-piece set of bowls with lids. I actually have this set in another color. In fact, the large bowl is the one that I'm going to be using to make my tortillas today. I really enjoy this set and I thought that you might like one as well. What we are asking of you in order to be entered into our giveaway drawing is that you like, comment, and share this video. And then if you're not following us on Facebook, make sure that you're already following us or begin to follow us so that we know who's in the giveaway. Let's get going on learning how to make corn tortillas. The first thing we need to talk about is our masa mix. You have two options. Well, you have more than two. I'm just giving you my favorite two. We have maseca in the white bag or in the brown bag. My favorite is the brown bag, but lately I haven't been able to get the brown bag, so I had to switch back to the white bag. Today we'll use the brown bag. Really the difference is the brown bag has a more corn flavor to it, and the white bag tastes a little more like store-bought corn tortillas. So this is kind of more traditional flavor. So you'll need your maseca. You're going to need water. Another thing to know is that when you're using the brown bag, you use cold water. When you use the white bag, you use warm water. It's just how it works. And you'll need plastic and your tortilla press. I have two options here. There are many other options as well. You can use the smaller ones just depending on your preference. And so I'll show you the difference here in a minute on that. So this is easy peasy. You know I like everything easy. We're going to open up our bag. I think the recipe on the bag calls for 2 cups of the flour with 1.5 cups of water. But you really can't go by that. You kind of have to just learn the feel of it. So we're just going to put some in our bowl. And we'll begin to add our water. And you really have to mix this by hand. And you just kind of begin to blend it together. And you got to turn your bowl. And then add more water. You don't want your masa or your dough to be too dry. If it's too dry when you're cooking your tortillas will turn out kind of cracked, and that means your dough was too dry. So you want it to be so it sticks together and begins to make a ball, and you want to knead that. It is a little sticky, but not so sticky that you can't work with it. You probably want to give it 10, maybe 15 nice kneads just to make sure that it's all mixed together. And I actually feel like it's a little bit dry, so it needs to be a little bit stickier. So I'm just going to add in just a touch more water, not a whole lot. And because I added more water, I'll just knead some more. You'll get the feel of this. As soon as you do this once or twice, you'll notice that either your tortillas are starting to crack on the griddle, and that just means that you didn't have enough water, so just go back to it. So So this is just perfect. You can see that it's not sticking to the edge of the bowl anymore. And this is exactly how you want it. So now, the recipe on the bag I don't like to follow. It tells you to make a bunch of little balls. I actually like to make my balls as I'm cooking. So we're gonna go over to the stove and I'll show you how we use our tortilla press and how we cook our tortillas. So we're at our stove. We have our griddle on our stove and it is warming up. Depending on your stove, you'll just have to get to know what temperature to go with. You want a hot griddle, not overly hot to where it's like beginning to smoke or anything, but fairly hot. My stove seems to be very hot on the left side, and this is the side I use to make my tortillas. So I go with about a medium to a medium high. If I was to try to do this on the right side of my stove, I'd have to be at full high. The other thing you need is a semi-thick piece of plastic. I'll be perfectly honest with you, you can get the best plastic by taking apart a plastic bag that's in your produce section. I found that some stores have very thin bags, so you've got to find, I've noticed that your mom and pop stores are the ones that have a little bit thicker produce bags, and that's what you need. And then you need your tortilla press. You can use any type of press. You always have to get to know your press. And that is because you always have to find kind of the sweet spot on your press. I'll show you what I mean. We're going to take a small ball of our dough and roll it. And kind of pat it down and put it on our press. We'll fold our plastic over and press down. Now what you're going to notice is that no tortilla press is even. So when I press down, one side is thicker than the other. So you can kind of get to know your press. I'm a little new to this one, so I'm actually going to have to kind of turn it, I think, until I can figure out where my sweet spot is. My husband just bought me a new tortilla press, but I haven't figured out the sweet spot. That was probably a hint from him that he wants more homemade tortillas. So now I have a thin tortilla, and what I'll do is just kind of set it in my hand and peel off my plastic. Now that I've peeled off the plastic, I will set it down on my griddle. I feel like my griddle might be a little hot, and the reason I know this is because my tortilla is beginning to bubble in the middle. So I may turn it down just a tad. And then what I'm looking for is the ability to lift up my tortilla. So you can see I kind of just use my finger and flip. If you're not used to flipping tortillas, you can use a spatula for this. It's no judgment here. I'm just used to doing it with my hands. So you want to really flip early, and then you'll leave it on the second side for a little bit longer. So it's kind of flip after 10 seconds, leave it for probably 20-25 seconds, and then you'll flip again. What I like to do is just start scooting them down. And then I can just start another one. And you can kind of get a system going where you know how long it takes you to make your next little dough ball. And then by that time you'll see that this one is beginning to get fully cooked. So we'll flip it over and leave it on the other side. Now, a good sign is always when it begins to puff up like that. That means you've done a great job of determining heat and water. And sometimes they don't puff up. It just kind of depends. I noticed I used to live in California, And in California, I used a little less water in my tortillas. I don't know if it's because of the humidity or what it was, but here in Nevada, my dough will dry out very fast because the air is very dry. So I have to add a little more water. And now this one is done. We'll set it on our cloth and we'll move forward. And again, I did not hit my sweet spot on this tortilla press. I just flipped it a little bit. Open. Peel. Lay it down. And I know that you probably noticed that I had a different tortilla press, so I'll show you that one. It's the same thing, it's just a metal one. It's a little more bulky. You can make some really big tortillas on here. So, put our plastic down. Gotta flip this one. So with this one, it's still misleading because even though this is a huge tortilla press, you really can't make a big huge tortilla because it ends up turning out too thick. And this one is actually more uneven than the other one. My husband also bought me this one recently, so I'm still learning the sweet spot. I guess he wanted me to retire the one I had forever because it was looking a little beat up. So you can see this one, it's the same situation. It's a little better. I almost got it. I can just scoot this over. I scratched it already. And move that out of my way. Peel. Lay that down. And there you'll notice that this one is puffing up. That means it's well cooked. You just give it a couple seconds and move it to your pile. I'm going to, I think, go back to my other tortilla press and just make a few more so you can see. So like I said, you do have to kind of get to know where you live. You've got to get to know your stove because every stove's a little different. Every comal, this is called a comal, it's a griddle, but it's called a comal in Spanish. I've had this comal for, I don't know, a long time, maybe 15 years. And it's the one that works well for me. If you have a thin comal, you're going to have to use lower heat. So again, everything is kind of trial and error, but as soon as you figure it out, it's like my rice recipe. Remember what I told you guys under my rice recipe? You got to have a pan and you got to stick to it. It's the same with your tortillas. You've got to have a comal and you've got to stick to it. And then you can serve these. Tonight we're going to serve them with something called frijoles puercos, which is basically just beans that I've added some onion and tomato and peppers and chorizo. And I will show you how to make those another day. Sort of like frijoles charros, but I think a little different. So I'm going to keep going at this and show you when I get done. So we finished making our stack of tortillas and I'm going to serve my family frijoles puercos with fresh tortillas for dinner tonight. I hope that you have enjoyed this recipe. Please let me know how it goes as you begin to practice making your own tortillas. And as always, we would appreciate it if you would like, comment, and share. And if you haven't already subscribed, please remember to subscribe. Have a great day.